Yeah. The ones that are under watch right now are there's six long chain and I think just one of the short chain, but they're the most prevalent ones out there. But you got to remember PFAS, some of these chemicals were in microwave popcorn bags and all this stuff. And, it's leaching from garbage and, all the stuff we use it on and getting into the water supply. And, it's coming in a bunch of different ways. So, government's well aware of the issue now. It's a matter of, getting it out of manufacturing altogether and then cleaning up the mess. It's going to take decades, centuries to actually corral all this stuff and destroy it again.
Conscious Water Collective is the go-to podcast for wellness enthusiasts and anyone who values clean water and seeks holistic solutions to combat contamination. Brought to you by Greener Solutions, powered by Campbell, and co-hosted by Jeff Ziegler and Maynard Breslow. This podcast bridges the gap between holistic wellness and modern filtration technology. Learn from health experts, top wellness influencers, and water filtration specialists about how to safeguard your water and your health. Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to the Conscious Water Collective. Today, we're joined by Shane Collins. Shane is the head of delivery over here at Greener Safer. Thanks for joining us today, Shane.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, pleasure. Yeah, I'm here with, obviously, Maynard and Jeff. We get to work together normally, which is great. And today we'll be talking about a lot of great things, up to and including PFAS, right? I think forever chemicals, this is kind of a buzzword, but or it needs to be more of a buzzword. I think more awareness is brought to it. So we'll kind of shed some light onto that and talk about what we can do about it. So I guess we'll start off easy. Let our listeners know kind of a little bit more about what you do with Greener Solutions and what we're aiming to do with Greener Solutions here.
I'm Shane. Thanks for having me, guys. Really excited to educate everybody about PFAS, where it comes from, and then how we're tackling it. This is a really big problem all the way across the United States. So working at Greener Solutions and making sure that I guess my job there with Greener Solutions is help make sure that we do all product testing and make sure that we do performance data. So that's the biggest thing. We got to make sure it works in the field and educate everybody. Right now, we're working on a project over in Spokane, Washington on PFAS. It's been in people's wells and everything. That's where a lot of my awareness is coming from, hands-on in the field. So that's the biggest thing that we have, and the future will tell us how well we do on cleaning it up and disposing of it.
Sweet. And then also, let us know a little bit about your background a little bit and why you're passionate about water. What it is that drew you to, kind of helping people have healthy water.
So I came from the cannabis and hemp industry, and I watched what water had to do to the plants. And once you understand the plants and how water affects it, and then you start getting into our own consciousness as water, our bodies are water, frequency and vibration in the water has everything. Water has a memory. So you got to clean that memory. And how do you clean it, with frequency and vibrations? So.
Yeah, no, definitely. We also share that kind of background. And when you realize all of the problems that are in kind of hemp, cannabis, and the water specifically, and then that's kind of like that rabbit hole, right? In terms of, wow, this is what's going into the plants and what it's doing to the ground and the minerals and everything. So what's it doing to our body, right? And I think for a lot of people, it's shocking. And then forever chemicals, PFAS, is also kind of shocking. For the uninitiated, tell us about PFAS. What are PFAS? Why we should even be thinking about it, or why it's something that we should, really put an emphasis on. Why is it important?
Number one is we're not able to detox it out of our bodies as we can heavy metals and other things. Number two, it's in everything. And that's the sad thing. It's not only in our drinking water, but it's on the clothes that we wear. It's a really bad thing for our health. But we have a lot of alternatives to it, so it's not all doom and gloom, Coming back to the hemp plant, back in the day, everything was made out of hemp paper, hemp things. And the awareness we need to do, look at your coffee cup at Starbucks, that plastic liner, and there's PFAS. And we can spend millions and billions of dollars on all these health products, But until we understand our body is we're a light being and we're a battery, and we need the minerals in the best water we can have to get rid of it, and the best water will get rid of a lot of our illnesses. So
And Shane is also heavily involved in the educational part of things at Greener Solutions by doing local webinars and community meetings and all this. And that's what he was involved in over in Spokane. There's a group over there that identified a lot of the PFAS that was in their wells and all this stuff, and they actually reached out to us. And one of the big things is it was actually coming from a military base, and the military has acknowledged it. But now it's a matter of cleaning up. How do we get them clean water immediately? And so there's a lot of an awareness factor to this whole thing, and that's both Shane and I come from the hemp, CBD, and cannabis space, and a lot of that was an educational process. And we're doing the same thing in this space with water, because people don't realize enough that when you just turning on your faucet doesn't mean you're getting good, clean water.
For sure. I
and you
think
need to understand the water. You need to understand what the ice is being made of that you're out drinking at. And it's not only forever chemicals, there's arsenic, there's, you start getting down the rabbit hole of EWG.org and looking into your tap water. That's some of the stuff that, really opened my eyes. And I did a startup with a company that was making a whole bunch of media and everything that was cleaning it up, that ended up getting bought out, but and basically put on the shelf. So that's some of my passion to get it. Now we've got the right products, we've got the right things, technology's coming. We've got multiple companies that are trying to get rid of the PFAS after we capture it and clean your water. What do we do with the hazardous waste? There's no infrastructure for that right now. And that's one that we need to talk to the government about and get more awareness to it. Like over in Spokane, that not only was it the Air Force Base that was filling the hangars with the fireman foam, but and then DuPont said that it was biodegradable, so they just washed it down the drains and it went into the aquifers. And it's moving towards the Spokane River, which is all of Spokane. So there's some pretty big things there. And then we can go back to Maine and Pennsylvania, which Spokane is working on right now. What about all the sludge that they're putting out in the fields? And what really got me, what really got me over in the Great Plains was these farmers that their chickens are contaminated, their gardens are contaminated, all of it's contaminated. And I'm working with Monica over there with the Water Coalition on how to get better vegetables, even if we have to put them in a greenhouse and container garden and do things to capsulize all of that into one bubble so we can keep it and then do that across the United States. So that's kind of where the passion is, to help our fellow human beings in our communities. So
no, that's very
One other thing, there's a financial impact to all of this too. People that are these farmers over in the Spokane area that now know they have PFAS and forever chemicals in their water. The property values change. It's going to be hard to sell a property when there's contaminants on it. So there is a real dollar amount to the effects of some of the contaminants that are in their water over there.
And yeah, Maynard, if you could we can talk to John with the Water Coalition, but they've done an amazing video on troubled waters. And one of the gentlemen has the highest PFAS level in his blood that they've recorded in the United States.
wow.
And if people have lost their loved ones, and basically their fix is, here's some bottled water, which, could still have PFAS or microplastics, a bunch of different things in it. And they still don't have a fix, and they're still bathing in that, and our skin's one of our largest organs. So it's a big issue, but hey, where there's a problem, there's a solution. So that's what we're working on, and trying to get the community and build their trust, and be on the boots on the ground, and not just go that, oh, this got, the testing's another thing. I don't want to get down too many rabbit holes, but we could have a whole podcast on testing. Because the EPA's now took it from, it was like 70 parts per trillion down to 20 parts per trillion. Now they're going down to 4 parts per trillion. And to really get that's really tough to get on just a couple passes. You got to do multiple things to get it to that level. And then how long until the breakout period? That's the performance data stuff that we're learning right now. There's a lot of people that don't have a lot of that because it's been around just for the last few years. So there's a big ask, a big call to action, but podcasts like this will help get it to the right people, So thank you for what you guys do.
And I mean, this is the place to go down the rabbit hole, right? I think testing is a big topic, and you mentioned a couple of websites, a couple of resources. I guess mine is a two-part question, because I think what we've found is that there's a lot of people who are passionate about it because they know there's a problem, right? And for them, it's not something. I mean, for them, it's like, yeah, of course. Why would you drink the water that's loaded with all this stuff? And then there's another group that maybe have a little bit of awareness, and those are those people who are looking for the testing. And then there's the third group that don't know that there's such a thing, such an issue, right? I guess so. I have a two-part question for somebody who is looking for the testing. What's like the next step to do, and go from there? I know you mentioned a couple of the resources, but just go a little bit deeper in that, and then follow up with that as well. What do we do about people who they don't even know that it's an issue, right? They don't even think to test. You ask them, oh, my water's fine, it tastes fine, and they've never done any testing before.
So the first one would be, if you really wanted to get down and break down on the testing, I would go to ewg.org. The first one, you go in there and you can go test your tap water through a database. And with that database, you put in your zip code. It'll pull up all the water all the water companies in there, if they're private or whatever, and they have to give a report back. So they've grabbed all that data, and that tells us what's in there. The one issue with that is you don't know really how long it's been since they've tested. There's a lot of loopholes they have through there, and the chlorination and everything is crazy. Just because it's safe doesn't mean it's legal, or just because it's legal doesn't mean it's safe. So, we just got fluoride removed from a lot of our waters, and then we're figuring that out. So then if you really wanted to go down the rabbit hole, you could go down to IATMO, and that's where you really get the real testing. NSF is kind of the big boys pay to play place, and IATMO is more where a lot of the smaller guys go and get the same testing. It's all tested by the same testing standards. And you just got to be careful of some of the testing standards because it's just about the material or whatever. It's not actually what it does and the reduction rate of what the filter does. So those are a couple there. As far as the people that need to understand that they have it in there, man, we need the soccer moms. We need to get them understanding what they've been lied to. And that's a really hard one. We all think everything's green and good and safe, but it's not. And I was just at the grocery store, a grocery outlet, big restaurant supply place, and I did find PFAS-free plates, PFAS-free to-go stuff. So I grabbed some of them, I bought them, and I've been showing people that I used to be in the restaurant industry, and I'm showing them there's the options. So that's kind of getting it aware. And I think, man, if we could print on those to-go boxes and teach people right there, that would be a very big thing. Because then it goes to the freezer or refrigerator, and they got to look at it 2 or 3 times. But then what is the ink made of? What is the, all the things? And we're going to have to give up some luxuries. The Scotch Guard, the Rain-X, the fancy stuff on our tires. There's a lot of stuff that we don't really need, that's polluting us.
Maynard, your mic cut out.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the most surprising things that I found was all the camping gear, the rain jackets, the waterproof stuff. It's just like that's kind of like the stuff that's lining it, right? And is that the forever chemicals? Obviously, the emphasis is on our water, our drinking water, I guess, right? And is that something that it's the same stuff that's going on the jackets and all that stuff is the same stuff that's going in your body, or is it different kinds of PFAS, different kinds of forever chemicals? I think that's kind of like the big thing. It's this big umbrella term, PFAS, forever chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
And what is really under that umbrella, and what is the stuff that's going in our body?
Jeff, what is there? 1,400 different cousins of PFAS, and they're only really marketing 7 of them, attacking the 7, and most of those are the long chain, not even the short chain ones.
Yeah. The ones that are under watch right now are there's 6 long chain and I think just 1 of the short chain. But they're the most prevalent ones out there. But you got to remember, PFAS. Some of these chemicals were in microwave popcorn bags and all this stuff,
Yep.
and it's leaching from garbage and all the stuff we use it on, and getting into the water supply, and it's coming in a bunch of different ways. So government's well aware of the issue now. It's a matter of getting it out of manufacturing altogether and then cleaning up the mess. It's going to take decades, centuries to actually corral all this stuff and destroy it again. There was an article, I didn't finish reading it, but now there is a new bacteria there they've discovered that once they gather all the material together, the contaminated material, these bacteria can eat and destroy. It's just in early stages, but it's a way to do it instead of the heavy heat process. Some of the other companies that can destroy the forever chemicals right now. So a lot of money is getting invested into being able to destroy this, but this is going to be an ongoing battle for a long time, for sure.
Yeah, and you mentioned there some webinars, some stuff you're doing in the education. How can people get a hold of the webinars or sign up for one or anything like that to kind of learn a little bit more about what you're doing in education?
Well, right now we're doing just small like an invitation. We've got flyers out and stuff for the water classes and kind of show everybody what's going on per their zip code, because we have forever chemicals right here in Arlington and a few things that people don't really understand. So that's what we're doing. And we'll just keep doing more things with you guys too. We'll keep building more and more and get more and more information and actually have a show and tell and see how this stuff breaks down. I got some things coming as well. Plus I've got some snow right now that I'm sending out to see what the heavy metals are in the snow, because we need to understand it, and it all comes back to filtration, and it all comes back to we have a better, cleaner, healthy body in ourselves. And that helps our consciousness to raise it up. And if we can raise our consciousness up higher enough, man, maybe we can get rid of all of this stuff, and it all just, higher beings come in and guide us to get the right things handled. I
Yeah,
like
some
how
of this
you
is
smile,
definitely.
Maynard.
Yeah,
No,
some of
it's
this is
great
definitely
because
grass. Go ahead,
oh,
Maynard.
go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was going to say a lot of this is a grassroots approach with, the wellness people that are out there running, influencers or people doing their own community websites and stuff like that, and, living healthier and better. Because they're the people that are already aware of issues in the environment and everything else and what we're putting on and in our bodies. So, that's what we're doing, and we're going to be expanding to trade shows and more and more water shows. And Shane and I live in the state of Washington, so he's up in Arlington, near Arlington, Washington, and Pacific Northwest. You think we'd have this pristine, clean water, but we've got the same issues the rest of the country does, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And I was actually grinning, right? Because you mentioned elevating our consciousness, higher energy. And that's
Yep.
kind of ties into what Jeff was saying, right? That there's such a big kind of like tie-in, between
Hmm.
the people who are passionate about it, holistic healing, people who are passionate about wellness, and people who are already trying to kind of elevate that consciousness. They go hand in hand, right? Like what you put in body, and this is like one of the first things when you start kind of elevating that consciousness, elevating your energy. That it's like the first thing, right? Like what am I putting in, and then we also mentioned the soccer moms, right? And that's kind of why I was grinning. It's like I think the all elusive soccer mom, right? We talk about it in hemp and cannabis. How do we get the soccer mom kind of thing? But is that kind of like a trend we're seeing where they are wanting to kind of learn more about these kind of things and elevate their consciousness in that way, or Is it just kind of like the we're hoping to get there someday?
Oh no, I'm seeing a lot of it at the wellness centers, and I'm seeing a lot of different things that are all coming back to light therapy and frequency and the sound bowls, all of that. And once we understand that, we can get it into the water. I think we can really restructure the water, but that's still a little woo woo how people call it, right? But then I ask those people, do they tell their nails to grow? Do they tell their hair to grow? They got a wedding coming up. I need 6 inches of hair. There's that other thing out there lying, that's helping with all of our consciousness. And the more we're aware of it, the more we can get rid of the stuff and do the change. And that's the moms are the ones that do the change. They're the ones that run the households. They're the ones that run the finances. They're the ones that take care of the kids. They're the ones that share the love of the family. So it comes down to consciousness and love and frequency. And that's what I'm seeing a lot in the wellness centers. A lot of people are wanting to understand it. But once it starts coming a little more mainstream, we have to have the infrastructure ready because everybody's going to demand it like they do. And that's going to be an issue to build it up properly. So actually doing grassroots is probably the best thing for it right now, because otherwise we'd have a lot of people freaking out, more than they are. So maybe we do all the wellness people, then we have those people that help us move the consciousness even higher, and that'll help get us to where we need to be, I think.
Very good. Very good. Anything else you want to share here with our listeners? Or you, Jeff, anything else that you want to add here?
I just think, bringing the awareness, and, we're doing the grassroots thing with the influencers and people doing the podcasts such as this. But then the next level is to get to the local governments and then grow this thing, keep bringing it up. Because, we could be going on, banging down Washington, D.C.'s door, but no one's going to listen until you get a good groundswell of the grassroots people, bring everyone's attention to it.
And I think a big stepping point will be the Water Coalition to get it out, because they've got a really solid message for everybody. So we can help support them. That'll help get us to our mission. And I appreciate both of you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thanks for coming on. And everybody will have the links here for you to be able to go and get your water tested, and fill out our form as well to get a consultation here with Green Solutions. See how we can help you get on with Shane and Jeff, and they're really good at just customizing things to see exactly what you need instead of getting whatever is there. They go in and actually listen to your needs and what you need. So we'll have the link there for that as well. And Shane, I appreciate you. Jeff, appreciate you. Great job again. Happy to be on here, and we'll see you next time.
Great.
Right.
Thanks, Maynard.
Awesome.
Thanks.